I really think that being different is a superpower, and I think most of us are actually hiding that. The problem about living in a society, I guess in any society, is that we're always trying to fit in. We're kind of pressurized to fit in. And that often makes us actually suppress and neglect the people we actually are. And I really learned that, and I recently understood how bad it really is and how much it has been holding me back, that I have actually never really been myself and never showed anyone my true self, because how would I show that to anyone if I don't even know her? So growing up, especially I would say in like a school or kindergarten system, we are often told to just be like everyone else and not cause any issues or problems. And there's one side of this where you're supposed to just fit in and not cause any trouble, which obviously makes sense in some way, but you're already taught to be quiet and not to be different. And then there's the other side of that, which is basically trying to make friends and trying to fit in order to be liked by the others, like by your other students or like anyone around you. And I think that just goes on into our lives, like when we grow up and then when we are at work or when we go to university. And a lot of us somehow find our path where we learn how to be ourselves. But I feel like so many people, including me, like my story is very simple. When I was a kid and when I was going to school, for example, even in like high school especially, I noticed that I did not really fit in and I was not liked by all the it girls and all the popular kids and everything. And obviously that makes you feel as a child, especially, like something's wrong with you. And I really wanted to fit in, and that's why I changed things. And the things I changed, and that's very essential for what it led to in my adult life, especially, is that I just try to fit in by being quiet and by not showing any of my true colors, but rather just saying yes to everything and always scanning the room for which opinion will be accepted best and how I can also act like I have the same opinion. And that's just some kind of, I think, fitting in behavior that I have really trained myself to have, until I noticed that it was actually draining me to be like that. Because nowadays I have realized that it is draining me in a way where, like in social context, it's not really fun to be around people where you're just always trying to impress them and trying to fit in, and especially people where you feel like if you don't do that, they're not gonna accept you for who you actually are. And on the other hand, I have realized how much it has holding me back generally in my life, because I have been thinking recently, what if I had never suppressed that small Lisa? Like if I had had the chance to grow up the person that I actually am, and the person that is somewhere deep inside me that I don't know yet and that no one knows. And I feel like how much better would I have felt, how much different of a path would I have gone if I would have like known my full capacity and my full personality. And for example, career-wise, I feel like we often also push ourselves down, like especially towards creative people. They are basically taught that making an income out of creativity is almost impossible and you should rather go the safe path and make a lot of money and all of these things. And I think that it already like starts in this conditioning that we experience as children when we're all around these other people and we're trying to fit in. And for me personally, I have realized that I have so much potential and I could make it so big in life, not as in like become a superstar, but as in fulfill and reach all my dreams. And I think that is only possible if I actually discover and let out my true self and my true personality, because I don't think it goes any other way. Because until now, I have always felt like there is so much more potential that I'm not unraveling, that I have built a wall in front of and that is not let out because I have suppressed my inner self so much. And I think that's maybe something that you need to hear as well, because no one tells us to be ourselves and no one tells us how different and better our lives could be and how much happier we could be, and maybe also surrounded by people who actually like us instead of people that like us for the person we're acting like we are. And I'm just thinking like how I could be at a different place in my career right now. I could be at a different place in terms of who's around me or like friends. And not that everything is bad right now in my life, but I think I have held back so much on myself. Like also doing social media, I have often been pretty brave for just stepping out there and showing my face on camera, and that's something that just a lot of people are uncomfortable with, and obviously I was too when I started doing it. And now I've gotten used to it, but because that already took me so much courage, I never really had the courage to also show my true self, which I just said I haven't even discovered myself yet. And I think that's why I feel like I'm always held back on everything in life. And I feel like there is so much waiting out there for me in the world, but how do I reach it? And I think the answer to that question is that I will really become my best self once I unravel my actual true self and my actual true personality. And I think that is a superpower, because once you actually step back from always trying to fit in and not being different, you're gonna discover your path, and it's gonna be a special path, and it's not gonna look like everyone else's. And I think that is a superpower, because I think that's your path to happiness. Like happiness is like not copying what other people are doing and not always faking things. I think in long term, that's not making us happy, because our hearts want to feel like we are fulfilling ourselves. And I think when we feel like we're really using our full potential and we're living life according to what our true self wants to live and wants to do, and which career it wants and which people it wants around it, that's when everything will like fall into its place. So I think if you ever feel stuck, and if you feel like nothing is going right for you, or you're like stuck at the same place and you can't change although you want to, and you want to find different people in your life, or you want to go a different career path or whatever, and you're like, I don't know what step to take next, I think the answer is that you need to find yourself first. And once you do that, everything will fall into its place automatically. And then you will actually learn what you want. And then you will actually just know what path to take in order to get where you want. So that's just something that really gave me something to think recently. And I think I've gotten really hopeful, because I feel like I want to learn who I am in my heart and who I really am, without hiding everything and without trying to fit in and impress people and be accepted by people. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And I can't wait to feel that fulfillment that that's going to give me. Let me know what you think about this topic in the comments, because I really want to know if other people have also experienced that, or how you dealt with that, and how you have stepped away from this always trying to fit in and be accepted for someone you're not really are, to actually embracing who you are and your true self. So I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.